Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry for being so late. Yeah, it's just me. It's just me today. And how's everybody doing? So, yeah, Lusterainen is about to be a dad. Um, Kenneth says Penn say Carlson is available. Marchand says he would rather stay in Boston than move to a contender. Damien says they said Seth Jones might be an option for us. I don't see it. Hello, everyone. We have Damien, the scientist metallic, Kenneth, Chopper Gunner, Mono. How is everybody doing? So, I did watch the video of the Matthew Kachuk interview on Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And let's see. The Red Wings traded goaltender Ville Husso to the Anaheim Ducks for future consideration. The Ducks will first send Husso to the San Diego Gulls of the American Hockey League. How is everybody? So I guess there should be some way to fill up this hour. I guess we can talk about Justin Sardif has been called up to the Panthers because of Luosterainen wanting to be there for the birth of his child. Isn't that the second time we've had something like that happen this year? Chopper Gunner says Seth Jones to Ottawa, a second round pick to Chicago, and Brady Tkachuk for the Panthers. There we go again with the wanting to get Brady Tkachuk from the from the Senators. So who's my desired first round opponent? Well, let me look at the current standings to see if the playoffs started today. We actually have fallen to second place in the Atlantic. So it would be the Lightning we play in the first round. But since it'll be back and forth, it's looking like for that first place in the Atlantic, and the Lightning still have a decent shot of getting first place in the Atlantic if everything goes right for them. Our possible first round Our possible first round matchups are looking like the Lightning, Maple Leafs, and the Sens. No, excuse me. The Red Wings are also a possible opponent because right now, if the playoffs started today, the Capitals would be playing against the Sens. The Maple Leafs would be going up against the Red Wings, and then the Panthers would play the Lightning, and the Hurricanes would play the Devils. The Capitals pretty much have first place in the Metro locked up. So it's all but a guarantee that if we win the Atlantic, we're getting the 7th seed and not the 8th. So that could be any number of teams. The Red Wings are at 64 points. The Sens are at 62. The Blue Jackets are tied on points at 62 with the Sens, but have 3 less regulation wins. The Bruins have 61 points. The Rangers have 60. And of course, the Islanders, Canadiens, Flyers are all tied at 57. The Penguins are at 55, and then the lowly Sabres are at 51. NHL Shop is having a sale. You just bought some more Cup Champions merch. Hey, that's cool. Damien says you saw somewhere it said Rantanen to the Panthers and Bennett to the Canes. Yeah, that sounds like a disaster in the making. Imagine if we acquire Rantanen with 50% off and immediately send him to Ottawa with 50% off for Brady. Yeah, the Sens fans would be pretty livid. I do not believe there is any realistic scenario in which the Sens are willing to trade Brady Tkachuk. Brady would have to force their hand. Yeah, the wild card race is going to be crazy. Yeah, Metallic says if Tampa wins their games in hand, will be in the third important game tonight for sure. Let's see what's going on in the Western Conference. So the Winnipeg Jets are currently on a 10-game win streak and are 1 point ahead of the Washington Capitals for President's Trophy. That is insane. The Stars and Wild are second and third place in the Central. The Golden Knights currently have a 2-point lead over the Oilers for first in the Pacific, and the Kings are third in that division. And of course, the Avalanche are in the first wild card spot, and the Canucks have that second wild card spot for now. The Calgary Flames are just 1 point behind the Canucks, in the standings. The Utah Hockey Club is at 59. Blues are at Blues are at 58 and Ducks are at 57, and that ends the number of teams that realistically have any chance. The gap between the Avalanche and the Hockey Club in the central standings is hilarious. Like the Avalanche are at 68 and then it drops all the way down to 59 for the Hockey Club. Chopper Gunner says, I had a dream that we were living in 2030 and the Panthers had won 5 consecutive cups. Tampa becomes little brother. So, let's see, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Yeah. I don't think any team is going to ever. There's only been one team that won 3 Stanley Cups in a row, and that hasn't happened since the 80s. Yeah, what do we think? If only we had success similar to the 1979, 1983 Islanders. Do I think we put Chucky on LTIR for next week? It's possible. Last I heard, they were still running tests and stuff. So I'm not sure. Let's see. According to Hockey Reference's playoff probabilities report, the Panthers have just the third highest percentage to win the division. Maple Leafs are at a 44.7 chance. The Lightning are at 28.7% chance. And the Panthers are at 26.0%. Oh yeah, I want to hear something funny. The Green Bay Packers submitted a proposal to the NFL's competition committee to ban the tush push. Chopper says, something tells me Zito has gone stealth mode to prepare for an absolute blockbuster trade. Be prepared if we end up losing a loved piece in our team. Well, if Chucky gets put on LTIR, it will allow us to use his cap space to sign perhaps a good defensive depth piece or maybe a new fourth line center. Kenneth says likely because the Leafs have a cupcake remaining schedule. 2 big games versus the Sharks, only tough opponents left in Florida. Chopper says would not like to see Bennett gone, though. He brings such intensity to the game. I think Luosterainen will be the one to bite the dust. He should be glad biting the dust. I'm not sure if the Panthers really are planning on making a major move. Like, is it worth blowing up team chemistry if rumor is that we would have to ship off Bennett or Luosterainen? Is it really worth that just to acquire the reinforcement we need? Like, how would it affect the rest of the team? We do know that Matthew Tkachuk might not be playing for us for a little while. Metallic says we are on pace for roughly 100 points. We would probably want to bump that up a little. Get some wins to win the division. Chopper Gunner thinks the Capitals are going to win the President's Trophy and lose in the first round. Well, the Capitals might be getting more than they can handle. There are so many young, hungry teams looking for their shot. The Capitals could end up playing the Red Wings. They could end up playing the Sens. They could end up playing the Blue Jackets. I'm personally hoping that at least one of the Red Wings, Sens, and Blue Jackets makes the playoffs. Right now, wild cards are Red Wings and Sens. I really doubt at least at least one, if not two, or all of the Bruins, Rangers, and Islanders are about to miss the playoffs. Want to hear something funny? At the top of the Western Conference and currently the league are the Winnipeg Jets with a plus 70 goal differential. And at the bottom of both the West and the league is the San Jose Sharks with a goal difference of negative 70. The Sharks have lost 6 in a row. The Jets have won 10 in a row. SoFlo thinks the Jets are going to win the President's Trophy. Both Winnipeg and Washington are on pace for 120 points. Yeah, the Sharks were less than a minute from beating the Jets last night. How do you find yourself in a position where it takes a goal within the final minutes of the game and then a game-winning goal in overtime? How do you end up in that position against the Sharks? It's ridiculous. So let's see. So at the moment, I guess we should talk scenarios of if Matthew Tkachuk does go on LTIR, what do you believe is the wisest strategy to deal with his absence in the lineup and potentially having his salary to use in before the trade deadline? So, I see tonight's game against Nashville. Tonight's game against Nashville is at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So, Kenneth thinks the Sharks in 2 years will be where the Red Wings are now. You mean like Fiends finally go their way and they are a wild cards contender? Let's see. How is everybody How's everybody going? How is everybody thinking that we're going to adjust potentially to Matthew Kachuk not being in the lineup? Do you think? I know. Remind me, what was the most recent line that we were using Kachuk on? Yeah, it was pretty cool to see him on Jimmy Fallon, on the Jimmy Fallon show. Like hearing how proud he was to represent his country in the Four Nations face-off was pretty cool. Metallic says the depth pieces need to score now. This is an opportunity for them. Yeah. Yeah, March. Yeah, March is just around the corner, which means if there are any major splashes yet to be made, if there are any major splashes yet to be made, now would be the time. Oh yeah, Trevor Seagrass was given a 3-game suspension for the high hit against Detroit's Michael Rasmussen. And Gary Bettman reduced the suspension of Minnesota Wild forward Ryan Hartman from 10 to 8 games. It's the first time he's reduced the suspension from the Department of Player Safety since he dropped Maple Leafs forward Jason Spezza's ban for kneeing Winnipeg Jets defenseman Neil Pionk in December 2021 from 6 games to 4. Sorry, Beza. Hey, how you doing? Hello, Ted says hi. You are not Eric. I am changing the channel. Hi, Kyle. Yeah, Baze. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. With the Twitch, with the Twitch chats. Sometimes I don't know which ones to answer because some of them are clearly bots. People are already saying Chucky is faking the injury. Good grief. Kenneth says, I bet it's Mark Stone saying that. Yeah, Mark Stone wants the heat off of him. Dylan says, unrelated by got assigned Nico Mikkola puck at the mall yesterday for $64. Authentication card included. Yeah. That is pretty cool, Dylan. I think my dad and I have a couple of signed pucks around here. I'll have to ask him which ones he's got. So if you had to pick one Panthers player from the current roster that you consider expendable, if Zito truly is about to cook again with another blockbuster trade, who would you personally put on the chopping block that you believe other teams will actually play ball if they get him in return? So Kenneth says I try to get a puck of each team. You think Florida and Ottawa are the only ones you're missing from the Atlantic? Aaron Ekblad or Bennett? It might be hard to get teams to bite on Ekblad. Ekblad is clearly an aging defenseman who is sometimes a meme for his bad plays or his lack of speed. Trey says most painful name I would allow is for Hagee, and it would have to be in a package for someone like Brady. Yeah, I highly doubt where Hagee is getting traded. Not after that big contract extension Zito gave him. That move would probably ruin the team chemistry. Trey says Mackey for Sid is obviously the trade to make. There is plenty of signed stuff around here. That is the Panthers territory, Panthers Fest poster signed by the current team, signed by the team from 2017 and 18. Some of these players at least tried with their signatures, and some are just scribbles. What do you let's say Ekblad or Bennett or even both were on the chopping block? If they're both on the chopping block or one of them is on the chopping block, who do you get in return? And don't say Brady Kachuk. What are the Panthers' biggest priorities besides the big splash of what essentially would be the hype trade if you try to get Brady Kachuk to join us? Excuse me. To the Hurricanes for Rantanen and a defenseman. Now, as far as I know, Rantanen has been massively disappointing for the Hurricanes. Are there any signs that Mikko Rantanen would actually be able to produce for the Panthers? Metallic says right shot, top four defenseman, and a depth forward. I'm hoping for someone who can maybe generate more points as fourth line center. Because right now the fourth line is just kind of meh. Metallic says Rantanen doesn't want to be there. He may pick things back up if he's in a place where he's happy. Well, yeah. Players too do tend to become a lot happier when they're playing in Florida. But I don't know if the Hurricanes are ready to give up so quickly on Rantanen. iDog says he's not going to be happy until he gets paid, and we can't afford that. Yeah, isn't this the dude who wants 14 million? 14 million a year? I don't think the Panthers, not even Kachuk being on LTIR, would give us that amount of money. Kenneth says, I would be worried about the Lightning. They have over $6.1 million in cap space. If we could trade Bennett, we would have the money. And then you run into the problem of completely disrupting team chemistry, especially the top six, in favor of bringing in a guy who has not performed since getting initially traded. And you're giving up I think a key element of our physicality if you get rid of Bennett. It'd be nice to have. I would say it would be nice to find a way to acquire a defenseman so that maybe not so much pressure on guys like Nate Schmidt. Excuse me. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at is what's this I'm just seeing? Joel Eriksson Ek suffered a lower body injury in practice on Monday and was placed on injured reserve Tuesday. He could miss significantly longer than the required week. The Wild also have activated Jacob Locko from injured reserve. Also, the Red Wings placed Andrew Kopp on injured reserve Monday with an undisclosed injury, and they recalled Sheldon Dries from Grand Rapids of the AHL. Is there really What is the benefit of the Ducks? What's the benefit to the Ducks for acquiring Ville Hustle from the Red Wings? Janaya says, "Hey boys, glad McDavid got the golden goal in a made-up tournament, but no worries when we play each other soon. He will help your team win. He's -6 in his last 2 games." Kenneth says the problem for Florida is Chucky is out. He must come back for the playoffs to make any trades worth it. I believe he will, but we never know. Yeah. Well, Paul Maurice has been quoted as saying that Kachuk might be out for a little long, but it's nothing. It should be nothing that's season ending. So that's what we're looking at. So the Hurricanes GM Eric Tolsky said the day after the trade for Rantanen, when he was asked about the risk of trading for a pending UFA without the certainty of being able to sign him, but also about Carolina being unafraid of the massive salary cap gained and instead seeing it as an opportunity if the worst happens and the player walks on July 1st. Tolsky said, quotes, "That's absolutely true for sure. We believe that if you have the cap space, you can always find ways to use it. So it's not the end of the world to leave yourself with room. There's not many opportunities to add a player of Mikko's caliber, so we're not going to take that lightly. Of course, we would like to extend him." Let's see. So the report from The Athletic, the reporter says, "I do not believe the Hurricanes are actually calling around telling teams they might trade Redmond. A few teams have had the courage to call Carolina and just ask, what if, in case the Canes can't extend him?" The Canes understand that between a trade out of Colorado that blindsided him and barely getting a chance to acclimatize himself to his new surroundings in Carolina, in part because of the time away at Four Nations, Rantanen still needs time to contemplate things. That's what is happening now. He's thinking things over. Hey, Eisenite, thank you for gifting the membership. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. The Ducks want to make sure they can meet the cap floor when they trade their players, so extra salary makes sense. Eisenite says, "Oh, the Kyle show Time for Disney trivia. It's funny how is it only in football where the championship team goes to Walt Disney World, or is it other sports as well? Cuban says we need to trade Sam Bennett, Lundell, and the first for Brady. How about no, Cuban? I think no is the appropriate answer for that. If Kyle is that big into Disney, why didn't he become a Ducks fan back in the day? One, because I didn't even really know about the Anaheim Ducks as a kid. I didn't watch the Mighty Ducks growing up. And two, when I got into hockey, it was because Dad introduced me to his team. He raised me to be a Panthers fan. The Red Sox did it once after winning the World Series. I see. So if you had to pick, who do you think is going to win the President's trophy, the Jets or the Capitals? Dana says, what did everybody think about Chucky's Tonight Show interview? I thought it was pretty good. He seemed to be having a good time. I loved when Fallon showed the pictures of of Matthew's parents and his brother in the stands after Kachuk won the cup. The Eagles are just waiting for an invite. They'd be honored to go to the White House. So, oh yeah, if you wanted a brief, Eyes and Nights, you missed the Fallon show. Did Chucky have his ring on? I don't know. I think I would have noticed if he was wearing his Stanley Cup ring. So, Kyle Dubas would apparently trade Eric Carlson in a heartbeat, according to a report from Josh Yohe of the PGH. He's the Penguins beat writer. Carlson has 2 years remaining on his contract, carrying a $10 million cap hit and a no movement clause, which both present obstacles for a potential trade. So, Metallic says the audience had mixed feelings. I'm sure he probably lots of Rangers fans. Eyes. Eyes. Colin was asking where is Jaws. I'm covering for him. He's getting some rest. He should be good to go for the game tonight between the Panthers and Predators. So I'll stick around for an extra 10 minutes here, since I was almost 10 minutes late. Almost 10 minutes late to this noon stream. Kenneth. That is fake news. Oh boy. Detroit Red Wings forward Andrew Kopp has been ruled out for the remainder of this season after going surgery on his left pectoral tendon. He's expected to be sidelined for 4 to 6 months. He was injured in the Saturday's 4-3 overtime loss to the Wild. He had 10 goals, 23 points, 8 penalty minutes, and 35 blocks in 56 games this season. Okay, Kenneth, catch you next time. Cuban says, something tells me Bill Zito is going to go after Brady Tkachuk. Think about the marketing that Tkachuk brothers would bring the Olympics next year, Team USA. We did it with the Bureys. Well, last time we had the high Ed's Talents brothers with the Bureys. The rest of the team was garbage. But is there any legitimate reason that the Sens would have to trade away Brady Tkachuk if Brady isn't trying to force his way out of Ottawa? Eisenite says, that's not true. We had Ray Whitney too. So like maybe one or two really good players. Cullen says, use the LTIR money on the fourth line and D-man. And I believe that's exactly what's probably going to happen because those are the top priorities. D-man and the fourth line help. And also making sure that Bob and Spencer are good to go for the playoffs. So yeah, that's his of the available fourth line pieces and D-men out there, who do you think the Panthers are most likely to pursue? Seth Jones from Chicago. I'll tell you about Seth Jones from Chicago. Let's see where he is right now. In this season he has played 40 games. 40 games. He has 6 goals, 20 assists, 26 points, is minus 15. He is also 30. This is interesting. The Chicago Blackhawks podcast on their Mailbag Monday would be Seth Jones has a contract with an average annual value of $9.5 million. The Blackhawks currently sit at the bottom of the Central with a record of how long ago was this? I think these guys used an AI summary because this record is 5-12-4, but that is clearly not the current record of the Blackhawks. So it looks like it's just a video that I would have to watch. Eisenite says, don't worry if Bob or Spencer get hurt. We have the great Chris Drieger. Cuban says, I think before Sam Bennett leaves for free, we trade him in a package. Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out. It'll be interesting to find out for sure what Sam Bennett is cooking. I mean, what Bill Zito is cooking, because the team does need reinforcements. They do need reinforcements, particularly on defense and on the fourth line. And it might lead to us trading away a guy like Bennett or Ekblad. I'm sure Jaws will not have to live through the nightmare of us trading Sam Muskevich, because it's probably not going to happen. So yeah, we've got we've got the Nashville Predators tonight, and e- even without Kachuk, this should be a 4-1 victory. I'm pretty sure the Preds have to be openly tanking at this point after after all the losing earlier this year. They are nowhere in a position to contend for a playoff spot. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. It was fun to spend the hour with you guys. Thank you very much, Eyes a Night, for gifting a membership just for me. Colin says, don't trade Bennett unless y'all don't want to go back to back. Yeah, I think it's more likely that maybe Ekblad is the one who gets traded. Or we may not have to trade any guys. If Kachuk is on LTIR, we have like over 9 mil of cap space. We could get a couple of players. All right, so yeah, Jaws and I will see you at 8 o'clock tonight for the game against the Preds, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Hope you have a good time, and hopefully the Panthers get 2 points without any problems tonight. All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks for sticking with me this afternoon. Peace. Peace to you. Oh yeah, and go Panthers.